Good morning and welcome to Morning Walk. I'm fishing this morning here on the Indian River in Vero Beach, Florida. And I was reading this morning the passage in Matthew where the disciples were following Jesus earlier in their lives and apparently had returned to their families and vocations while Jesus was ministering throughout Galilee. And once Jesus returned to Capernaum, he encountered the four fishermen, two sets of brothers, Andrew and Peter and James and John. They were fishermen by trade, and they had been fishing all night in the Sea of Galilee, and having cast their nets, they had caught nothing. And as Jesus was there by the seashore, a large crowd of people had gathered and kind of pressed upon him. And so he asked Peter if he would put the boat off a little bit offshore so he could get on and use it as a pulpit. And so Peter did. And while Jesus was on the water having addressed the people, he instructed Peter to cast his nets on the other side of the boat. And Peter reluctantly did so because they had fished all night and caught nothing. And so once they cast their nets, their nets became filled with fish, so much so it almost sank the boat. And it was at that point that Peter recognized his own sinfulness and the fact that he was actually in the presence of the Lord, and he fell to his knees and confessed Christ. And it was then that Jesus invited them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men, who will catch men alive beyond what you can imagine." To me, this is a very encouraging passage because they had kind of left following Jesus. They'd gone back to their old ways of life, and yet Jesus still receives them. He still calls them. He, as it were, gives them a second chance. And so they left their fishing businesses and surrounding occupations and possessions and pursuits, which obviously can easily distract all of us. And they cast their lot, they cast their nets with Jesus and began to become fishers of men. And so he invites us this morning to follow him and derive all from him. And as we do, we will become fishers of men.